Written by William Shakespeare between 1596 and 1598, The Merchant of Venice is a complex problem play set in the bustling commercial hub of Venice and the idyllic estate of Belmont. The plot follows Bassanio, a noble but impoverished Venetian, who seeks to marry the wealthy heiress Portia. To fund his quest, his friend Antonio, the merchant, strikes a dangerous bargain with the Jewish moneylender Shylock, a pound of flesh if the loan is not repaid. The play weaves together themes of justice, mercy, and religious prejudice. Structured as a comedy, ending in multiple marriages, it is underscored by the tragic tension of Shylock's social exclusion and his eventual courtroom downfall. Act 1. The play opens in Venice, where Antonio, a wealthy merchant, is melancholic for reasons he cannot explain. His close friend Bassanio confesses that he wishes to court the wealthy heiress Portia, but lacks the funds. Because Antonio's wealth is tied up in his merchant ships, he agrees to borrow money on Bassanio's behalf from Shylock, a Jewish moneylender. Shylock, who has suffered years of discrimination at Antonio's hands, proposes an unusual bond. If Antonio cannot repay the loan within 3 months, Shylock will be entitled to a pound of his flesh. Confident that his ships will return with ample wealth, Antonio agrees to the terms. Meanwhile, in Belmont, Portia is bound by her deceased father's will, which requires that she marry only a suitor who chooses the correct casket among 3: gold, silver, and lead. Various suitors attempt to court the princess but fail, driven by vanity rather than wisdom. Act 2. In Venice, Shylock's daughter, Jessica, elopes with Lorenzo, a Christian, taking with her a substantial portion of Shylock's wealth. Shylock is devastated by both the betrayal and the loss of his fortune. Meanwhile, Bassanio arrives in Belmont and correctly chooses the lead casket, winning Portia's hand in marriage. His friend Gratiano falls in love with Portia's lady-in-waiting, Nerissa, and they also plan to marry. Antonio, however, receives grave news. His merchant ships have reportedly been lost at sea, leaving him unable to repay Shylock's loan. Shylock, embittered by Antonio's past mistreatment and his daughter's betrayal, is determined to claim his pound of flesh as per the contract. Act 3. Shylock takes Antonio to court, demanding justice under the legal agreement. Despite attempts by Antonio's friends to negotiate a settlement, Shylock refuses all monetary offers, fixated on exacting his revenge through the pound of flesh. Meanwhile, Portia and Nerissa disguise themselves as a male lawyer and a clerk, planning to intervene in the trial in Venice. Act 4. The most dramatic scene unfolds in the Venetian court, where the Duke presides over Antonio's trial. Shylock is adamant about enforcing the contract. Disguised as the learned young lawyer, Balthazar, Portia delivers a famous plea for mercy, arguing that the quality of mercy is not strained. However, Shylock remains unmoved. When it seems Antonio is doomed, Portia cleverly points out that while Shylock is entitled to a pound of flesh, the contract does not allow him to shed any blood. Because extracting flesh without spilling blood is impossible, Shylock's claim collapses. Moreover, because Shylock, a non-citizen, sought to take the life of a Venetian, his property is confiscated, and his life is at the Duke's mercy. The Duke spares Shylock's life, but forces him to convert to Christianity, a fate that leaves him utterly defeated. Act 5. Back in Belmont, Bassanio and Gratiano return with Antonio, unaware that Portia and Nerissa had saved him in court. Through playful deception, the disguised women trick their husbands into giving up the rings they had sworn never to part with. The truth is revealed, and the couples are joyfully reunited. Antonio learns that his ships have indeed returned safely, restoring his wealth. Though all ends well for the Christian characters, Shylock's fate remains a tragic element of the play, raising ethical questions about justice and mercy. The Merchant of Venice is a fascinating blend of comedy and drama, exploring deep themes of prejudice, justice, and mercy. Shylock, the play's most complex character, has been interpreted in various ways, sometimes as a villain, sometimes as a tragic figure. His demand for a pound of flesh reflects his bitterness and suffering, yet the punishment he faces raises questions about fairness and tolerance. Technically, the play is a masterful example of parallelism. The cold, transactional world of Venice stands in sharp contrast to the romantic, musical atmosphere of Belmont. Shakespeare utilizes the Three Caskets subplot as a moral litmus test, highlighting that true value lies beneath the surface. While historically viewed as a simple victory for the Christian characters, contemporary interpretations often view Antonio and Portia through a more critical lens, questioning the ethics of their mercy, which involves Shylock's forced conversion. The play remains a powerful tool for discussing how law can be used as a weapon of both protection and persecution.